I'm Lorraine Sommerfeld, and this is the Lemonade Car Show. Today we're discussing what's new for auto show season, and also our resident mechanic will answer any of your car-related questions in our Ask a Mechanic segment. Lemonade is brought to you by OMVIC, that's Ontario's vehicle sales regulator, and we're produced by the Automobile Protection Association. The APA fights for you, the consumer, and provides information and news on all parts of the industry. Visit our website at apa.ca or reach us by phone at 416-204-1444. Joining me today is Ron Corbett. He's a staff writer for the APA, and Chris Muir. He's a professor at Centennial College and our mechanic tonight. We'll be taking your calls at 888-764-3778. Welcome to the show, gentlemen. Ron, nice to have you back this season.
Yes, it's always delightful.
When I see you, I know it must be car show time.
That's true.
It's true. Toronto is in 2
weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks tomorrow.
Is that what it is?
I'm just sensing the tsunami of excitement.
I've been lining up interviews all day and trying to sort everything out, and it becomes spinning plates, trying to get everybody with their unveils at the right time and all those things. So,
watch those sheets.
What are we going to be looking for in Toronto this year?
Toronto, let's see. I think there's a new GMC Terrain. There's a new Chev Traverse. There is, what do we got here? Tons of stuff.
Tons of stuff?
Not the Nissan Micra, though.
Okay, so we'll go around the Micra.
Sadly, not showing up.
Okay. You have notes in front of you.
Notes in front of me on the I've been to the Detroit show and the Montreal show already.
And they pulled the sheet on the Camry.
They pulled the sheet on the Camry. Of course, we don't have a photo of it, so we're not talking about the Camry.
Okay.
So they pulled the sheet on the Camry. Anyway, it looks more distinctive. It's less
nice.
boring,
yeah.
And it'll have the typical
That's
Camry
what you say about a
values.
Camry. It looks less boring.
Actually, the car has
really
finally
nice.
got
It's
some
beautiful.
passion behind it.
Passion,
It's very
yes,
stylish.
yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it looks beautiful.
I may have to stop calling them the refrigerator of the car world.
That's true. But refrigerators are reliable.
That's true.
Yes.
Okay, tell
Okay.
that's how you sell a car.
Well, this is a passionate refrigerator. It's
Yeah.
much better than the old fridge.
Yeah,
Okay.
it does things.
I know
It's more efficient.
you brought photos with you.
I did.
So what we're going to do is when they pop up,
we will
we're
going to discuss them.
So
Okay.
that's my heads up to the crew.
Karnak senses it's going to be the Odyssey first. Oh, yeah, very good.
We can start talking about
Okay,
Odyssey.
so it's all new. It's 5th generation of their minivan. Basically the same thing, 3.5 liter V6 fuel injection or direct injection. Looks good. There's a lot of stuff going on the surfaces I don't understand, but anyway, it's very roomy. It's very comfortable. It's got Wi-Fi, and it's going to have a 9-speed automatic. But if you get the Touring, you get a 10-speed. So,
how's it going to stack up against the Pacifica, which is getting all the noise? The past?
It'll really depend on the price point. It is a Honda, and certainly the Odyssey and the Sienna have always been sort of the gold standard of the minivans. So I trust it's going to be quite delightful. So we'll have to do a back-to-back. We'll probably do something for Protégez-Vous with a Pacifica, an Odyssey, and a Sienna, and maybe something else. So.
Yeah, somebody needs to do that.
Someone needs to do that, and darn it, we're going to do it.
There we go.
Okay, so the next is the VW Tiguan.
Easy for you to say?
Easy for me to say, yes. I don't know where they get their names, but anyway. It's
Neither do they.
very tastefully conservative looking.
Yeah.
It's for North America.
Boring?
No. It's crisp, nicely rendered.
Okay.
So it's on for North America. They have a Super XL version with a longer wheelbase, so it's going to be unique to this market. So it has a catalog, what I call catalog third row, where it's in the catalog, but that's about all you're going to get in there. But anyway, whatever. I'm going to get a call from
very square traditional.
It's
SUV
quite
look.
good. 2 liter 4 8-speed automatic. So it's going to be it's like about 10 years in the making. So anyway, should be good. The next is the VW ID Buzz. It sort of references
That's
their
the crazy little
the one that looks like the old hippie bus.
Yeah.
So
do you think this is a joke? Do you think this is actually going to sell?
No, I think, remember they had the when the new Beetle came out, and whenever it was 89 or 90 or whatever, it really created
that long?
Yeah, I think so. We're getting old. Anyway, it brought a lot of interest to Volkswagen. Brought a lot of people into the showrooms, and I think this would do the same. It looks really cool. Obviously, it's not producible, but a version of it should be. So
You get the retro buzz, kind of get a kick in the pants to the minivan segment.
Buzz. Yeah, it'd be kind of cool. So that's it for Detroit. There was lots of other stuff at Detroit, but There was stuff that overlapped with Montreal, so I guess we'll move on. We'll change cities now.
Okay.
So we're going to Montreal. The first thing was the Toyota CHR, which is supposedly for Coupe High Rider. And it looks it's definitely not boring. It's definitely it's something you're going to notice.
Is that like the Heritage high top?
Yeah,
like a play on it?
maybe. But it's actually a four-door.
It's cute.
And there's lots of room inside from what I've seen in pictures. I haven't got into it.
It looks like an absolute amalgamation of so many different vehicles. It's like they couldn't pick what they wanted to build at this exact moment. It's kind of got a juke fender to it. It's got the new Camry front end, but they've stacked it on something else. It's like those terrible pickup trucks where they weld two frames together and stack it up.
Is there something you wanted to say, Chris?
It's a little polarizing. Let's call it polarizing.
So polarizing, yeah. So,
Yes.
so that's good. Hopefully it doesn't melt. But it's the same architecture as the new Camry and the new Prius. So they call it like the world Toyota new whatever.
That's not what he calls it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, it's got a 2.4 4 from the Corolla, 144 horsepower CVT.
Okay, keep going.
The Chevy Equinox is next. And this is, it's a couple of years late, but anyway, it looks really good. It's a bit smaller. It's quite a bit lighter, but it's just as roomy inside, so it should be good. It's got the powertrain from the thingy, the Malibu. So Nissan Qashqai is next. This one was very brightly hued. In Europe, Nissan gave up on the C-segment hatchback, like the Golf size or whatever. They just said, forget it. I brought this out instead, and it's been out for about 10 years. Not this one, but the previous. It's done really well for them, and this is...
it's being really well received over here.
Very well received, and it's a bit bigger than the...
Faces.
No. Bit bigger than the HRV, smaller than a Rogue, so it's really supposed to be marketed to urbanites, so it should do well. VW Atlas is the next one. It's their sort of super jumbo 3-row SUV. It looks more imposing than elegant, but
it's a tank.
It's a
Rover. Tank. It's huge inside, 3 rows. Third row is actually pretty good. Very comfortable. Interior is a bit dull, but
when are we
anyway.
going to stop buying outsized SUVs? Can I just ask that?
No,
speaking?
People are obsessed.
Why?
I don't know what the driving force is, but
like I know there's a small segment that actually require them, but it's this big.
but
I'd like them to bring back
sell.
stylish wagons.
stylish
Not too much
wagons.
ask.
Yes,
I had a
But
flex,
useful
I had a
stylish
flex
wagons.
last
yes.
Oh,
I love the.
I said stylish.
I've always
stylish
I've
first.
always loved it.
talk polarizing.
Oh yeah,
Flex.
no, absolutely right. Anyway, it should be good. It's got the 2-liter turbo or the 3.6-liter V6. It's built alongside the Passat in Chattanooga. VW e-Golf is the next one. It's a totally electric Golf with a 200 kilometer range, and it's very practical, versatile, and putting the electric power plant doesn't seem to affect versatility at all. The back seat's roomy. Big trunk,
Okay, Volkswagen's going heavy on the E stuff because they have to. Is it going to save them?
They announced yesterday that in 2016 they were the most sold brand in the world. They were number one. So I think they don't really need much saving at this point. So they've had issues for sure, and but obviously people really don't really care that much, because if they are the world's biggest selling brand,
Do we know the difference in price between the e-Golf and just a regular?
all that information is.
They never give you the pricing.
Yeah.
They always.
It'll happen, right?
It's one of the downsides.
And I guess the last thing we saw was the Jeep Compass, the second generation, which is also, it's after a 10-year run, finally the last one is dead.
I'm sorry, Jeep. I hate that grill. It looks like when I had braces on when I was 13.
It's Cherokee Light.
Yeah.
Cherokee Light, but it's on the same platform as the Renegade and the Cherokee, and 2.4 liter, yada yada. Good room inside, nice interior. Back seat is like really, like the seat's low and the seat cushion's really hard. Really. Yeah,
Okay.
they need some work there. But it seems like you could put a Jeep logo on anything, and it'll sell. Yeah, no, it's.
And I just read they retain their value quite well, Jeeps, because I guess you can sell them to the next level of people who are going to overlook a lot of things that Jeeps are famous for. Not that there's, a bad list.
No, but anyway.
You can't keep talking. I get to talk.
Oh, you get to talk.
Yeah,
You should
I
talk.
get to talk. The Lemonade Car Show, brought to you by OMVIC, Ontario's motor vehicle sales regulator, returns after this short break. When we come back, we'll be taking your calls, 888-764-3778.
Technologies almost every week at this point that change the cars just that little bit more, that interlink systems that you didn't have to have concerns with before. Fuel technology at this point is racing forward, and we're going to have a drought of technicians that haven't kept up, and we're going to need ones to replace them, definitely.
I think it's like a lot of industries are evolving, they're changing, and you need skills sets from one into another one now. So I don't think this one is different, but it's not different than what has always happened.
No,
in every
not at
industry.
all.
Yeah, it's true.
And people have to evolve and change.
But that traditional, guy with a very low IQ in his grubs, covered head to toe in grease, that's more often than not the case at all. You're looking at people that have the same skill as heavy line electricians for working on these electric vehicles. You have
because some of them are like 500 volts.
you have
IT guys.
IT guys essentially to deal
Oh,
with the multiplexing, the networking, right? You've got guys that have to think like a mechanical engineer in order to diagnose a lot of these systems. And people who have to be willing to pick up those books and educate themselves on the dangers of these new technologies. They're not without inherent risks.
I hope that helps you. Thanks for calling in tonight. Hi, Peter. Thanks for calling the show. Do you have a question for us?
Yes. Hi. Great show, by the way.
Thank you.
I want to ask your panel. I'm looking at two vehicles. I'm looking at the 2017 Ford Explorer Sport with the 3.5 EcoBoost and the Terrain Denali. Just wanted to get their insight on both vehicles. With the 3.6, of course, the Terrain.
I know what you're both going to say, but go ahead.
Well, I actually drove the Terrain Denali. No, actually, did you say Terrain or Acadia?
Terrain.
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 The Terrain, there's a new one coming out within, I don't know, about 6 months, and it looks like a really big improvement. I'd never put a Terrain together with an Explorer. I'd probably put an Acadia together with the Explorer.
They're just roughly the same size.
And I did drive the Acadia, the new one, and it was really totally awesome.
The Explorers are fairly robust. They're heavy duty. That engine makes a ton of horsepower.
Yeah.
I mean, they're exciting drives. They're certainly more car-like than the Explorer's ever been before. And I myself haven't heard of a lot of problems with them at this point.
Are the EcoBoost?
Yeah, I don't know if that's maybe by now, but certainly initially there were issues.
There were issues, and it's no different than the 3.6. Early 3.6 has had some pretty heavy mechanical issues internally.
I drove the Flex with the EcoBoost, and the Flex is the sister car to the Explorer, and we just had a discussion about the Flex when we were on break, and I really like it, and I certainly prefer it to the Explorer. I've driven both of them. But that engine, the EcoBoost in that platform, is just beyond awesome, right?
Oh yeah.
Both those vehicles we've said on the show at various times, the Denali and the EcoBoost, to go with the extended warranty if you're planning on keeping it. Do you agree with that? Okay,
yeah,
so
definitely.
Peter.
Or if you're not going to keep it, with GM though, they do have a 5-year, 160,000 kilometer powertrain warranty. Okay. So that's pretty good.
That's substantial.
pretty good
I hope that
incentive.
helps you. Thank you. Hi, Gwen. Thanks for calling the show. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, I have a Cobalt, a GM car, and the headlight covers, they get film over it.
Yep.
And my mechanic told me that if I get it cleaned, it'll be back the next year. So do you have any suggestions? I've tried CLR, and I've tried toothpaste. Do you have any other suggestions?
No, you don't use CLR on them. They're a fairly sensitive polymer. You're stripping coating off of them. You're basically melting the front of them. You should take it to a detail shop. They can buff the headlights back out, or a body shop. They'll be able to buff the headlights back out and then wax seal them. And all you'll have to do is maintain the wax coating on the headlight. Take it back to the body shop once a year, get it buffed back out. That's all you should do with them. Don't use a harsh chemical on the lens.
Yeah,
It's
go to a
not good
detail
for it.
shop. It's worth doing it. You'll get really improved visibility.
Oh, it's great.
And
It's
it
night
works
and day.
good. You can also buy kits. I've got one. What's the brand name? It's easier to go to a detail shop. My daughter-in-law did it. She got the kit and did it, but it was a lot of elbow grease in the middle of winter, and it wouldn't have been easier to let someone else
Absolutely.
do it.
And if you, some of these buffing kits, they say put them in a drill, but if you get the drill too fast and overheat the light, you boil the plastic in the front of the light and then you destroy the light. It's much better to have somebody else be responsible for that headlight capsule.
Okay. So detail shop, Yellow Pages, they're easy to find. They'll do that for you. Hope that helps you, Gwen. Thanks for calling the show tonight. Yeah, there's a lot of, they get dingy. They get, and I've heard about toothpaste and it doesn't work.
Well, it doesn't. You have to use a lot of elbow grease in order to get it to actually work. You can make it work with a buffing pad, but at that point, you may as well just get a proper rubbing compound and wax it.
That's true. Hi, John. Thanks for calling the show. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, hi. I just want to say I really enjoy your show, like so many others, and it always seems that I'm learning either about driving or mechanics or tires or whatever. So thanks so much.
Oh, perfect.
I have a very, very simple question. I'm almost afraid to ask it.
Yeah.
I have a new Honda Fit. It's 2 years old, but it only has 6,500 kilometers on it.
Oh, cool.
And when I bought it, I gave my other Honda to the Kidney Foundation. It was 25 years old. So I'm working off of an old technology as far as my thinking. So my question is, I'm from Timmins, Ontario, and I'm in Toronto now. And when I go up over the summer, I go up for fishing, I go up for my blueberries, and it's an 8-hour drive. And I'm always wondering at some point if it's midnight and I'm stuck somewhere 100 kilometers or two north of North Bay, whatever, and my check engine light comes on, which I've never experienced. What should my reaction be? I know it's a simple question, but I think automatically I should pull over. But am I supposed to try to just make it to the next little town, or what am I going to actually know from the engine light? I have a CAA roadside and I have a Honda roadside, but it's midnight, it's pitch black, and my check engine light goes off, and I pull over. What should my reaction be? Could you help me?
Absolutely, I can. Yeah, the warning lights in your dash are just like traffic lights. Okay, green means that the system's operating normally. So you'll see that a lot of the time to let you know that your headlights are on, or your daytime running lights are on, and that's operating normally. Yellow is a cautionary lamp. It does not mean that you're in imminent danger. You're not doing any system damage. Something has exceeded the federal limit for emissions from the vehicle by 1.5 times if that engine light comes on. If it starts flashing, you should probably pull the car over. It's catalyst damaging misfire is what it means if it flashes. Very rarely will it flash without having something lead up to it. If a red light comes on, the car is unsafe to drive. Something has failed. Usually you'll see that as a red brake warning light or a throttle actuator light, something along those lines. But if it's a yellow light, continue driving the car. Get to a very safe destination, or even continue all the way to your destination and have it fixed there, or have it fixed when you get back. It is not going to damage the car to the point in which it's worth putting yourself in danger by stopping on the side of one of those skinny little highways in the middle of the night.
And the chances of that coming on in that car at 6,500 kilometers, you do your oil twice a year, that car is going to go just like your other one did. You're going to get such great life out of that car. So.
That light might come on because you left your gas cap off.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd ever drive there at night because of moose.
Oh, I've done it lots. It's
Have you?
fine. Oh,
John is
You're
an
always driving
adventurer.
you're always driving a
Come on,
gigantic
I can
pickup.
tell from
Listen,
John,
I
he
drive a
looks for an
Fiesta.
adventure. He wants to drive the Fit up there with the moose. That's fine.
Yeah.
But no, that car is going to give you great,
Oh, absolutely.
great life. It's probably not. I mean, it's good that you're asking the question. It's smart you have CAA, but honestly, change your oil twice a year, and you're not going to have any issues with that car. But don't worry about yellow. And we'll give you Chris's cell phone number, and you can call him if you want.
Would be the first to donate it, okay?
Hi, Stanley. Thanks for calling the show. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, thank you. My question has to do with the storage of tires. Summer tires or winter tires. When you put them in your shed or garage, is there a specific way to store them? Do they have to be standing up like they're on the car, or can you stack them on top of each other, lying down to save space in your garage or your shed? Does it affect the longevity or the quality of the tire on how you store them?
No, I stack them.
I like to stack them
I always stack 'em.
myself.
One of our tire gurus said to stack them.
If you're storing the tire, you should try and cover it, make sure that it's not exposed to UV light. That's the most detrimental thing to the carcass of a tire. Stacking them on the side can be absolutely fine. Your tire technician, if they're off the rim in the spring when you put them back on, he may not like you very much for stacking them on their sides because the beads can sometimes go together and they get hard to seat onto the wheel itself. As far as everlasting damage on the tire, you can store them straight up or sideways, whatever is convenient to you.
Are they on dedicated rims, Stanley?
I'm not really sure, to tell you the truth.
Are they already mounted on rims?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, so just stack them up,
stack 'em
cover
up.
them, put them in the bags that the new ones came in, and so they're protected from the UV.
My guy
they're
always
fine.
puts the alternate season tires in plastic bags.
Yeah, that's what we do. I have 4 sets of tires in my garage because I'm the one with a garage.
So you want to store a set of tires? Eh?
Who puts a car in a garage? Hi, Whittle. Thanks for calling the show. Do you have a question for us? Go ahead.
Hi.
Hiya.
I got question. I'm going to buy a BMW X1 2012. I would like to know a little bit more of this vehicle. What is your opinion?
BMW.
I'm going to be honest, I don't have a whole bunch of exposure to X1s by any stretch. I'm not a reliable source. I would Google your reviews on that one for sure.
How about you?
Well, I usually figure those cars are great for the first person who leases them.
And then after that, they get a little spendy.
Yeah, it's a very complex machine and very finicky, and I think costs do escalate.
It's an expensive car with expensive engineering.
Yeah.
So if you're prepared to maintain
The maintenance,
a high-end
the maintenance
premium
costs
vehicle.
are related to the cost of the car, and the car is a car for a very prosperous person.
So as long as you're aware of what you're getting into, that it is a pricey car, it is a premium brand, and you're going to be looking at bills that go along with that to maintain it at the level it's accustomed to.
I think I would, I'd probably buy like a new CR-V or a CX-5 or something like that instead.
And if you're getting a sweetheart of a deal on a car like that, look deeper.
Be careful, yeah.
Yeah, and always take it to your own mechanic to have it checked.
Yeah, you're getting a rich ex-wife. You're getting somebody who's... Hi, Philip. Thanks for calling the show tonight. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, hi. Got a 2012 Accord, and my mechanic told me when I put on the winter tires that I needed to replace my brakes and pads and rotors. So do I necessarily have to go with the Honda Accord brand brakes, or can I go with Wagner's or AC Delcos?
Yeah, you can go aftermarket brakes. There shouldn't be any issue in doing that. There's all kinds of different options too. Everything from the super cheap that might make some noise all the way up to the ultra premium that also might make some noise, just depending on the compound of the pad. There's all sorts of options in the aftermarket, and you're going to find that you can usually get a brake job done for the cost of 1 or 2 OE rotors. So aftermarket's definitely a way to go when you're doing your brakes.
And he named 2 good, reliable
Absolutely,
makes. Yeah. So
Let's stay away from the Delco brakes.
no Delco? Okay.
I don't like Delco.
Okay.
I've never
say
had
that.
good issues or good history with them.
Okay.
And I mean, I
So
worked
Wagner?
Wagner's a great one. Raybestos. We use a Canadian brand called Enroble at the shop. So there's all kinds of options, and there's all kinds of different price points.
Okay, I hope that helps you, Philip. Thanks for calling the show tonight. I love asking your opinion on something. And then you make the face.
Well, honesty, right?
He always holds back, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
it.
absolutely.
That's what the show's famous for.
So we were looking at,
Okay, what are we
at
looking
all
at?
of these different vehicles from the auto show, and I'm kind of noticing a trend with a few different manufacturers. Specifically, let's go for Jeep and Nissan. Why are they adding another SUV to their lineups? We've got Renegade, Cherokee, Grand Cherokee. We need another size.
But they used to
it's
have,
like ordering a coffee
but they had Compass and then Patriot. Okay, so they have got rid of the Patriot.
So they've slimmed down now.
They've slimmed down. But when they introduced the Renegade, I thought the Renegade was going to replace the Compass Patriot.
Well, hopefully.
But in fact, it didn't. But so now they put something in. But now the new Compass is bigger than the Renegade, and the Cherokee is bigger than the Compass, and the Grand Cherokee is bigger than the Cherokee.
Okay, you can argue in a second. Hi, Melissa. Thanks for calling the show. Do you have a question for us?
Hi, yes. I recently took my 2015 Dodge Grand Caravan into to shop for a timing belt. It only has 56,000 kilometers, and I was wondering if that was a common problem or if there could possibly be something else that they're not telling me.
3.6?
3.6 Pennstar should have a chain. You took it in for a warranty repair?
Yes.
Okay, you've had an issue in the front of that vehicle then, and they did it for you no charge, correct?
Yes.
You had a noise before?
Yes.
Okay, so you've probably blown a tensioner, the chain stretched on it. Is it a common problem? Not one I'm aware of at this point. I do know that the Penstars had a few oiling issues early on, but they seem to have worked those out. Is it something that's going to repeat? Very likely not. This is very likely a one-time repair. They'll get her all tidied up for you, pack it up, and you'll be good for another 100,000 plus kilometers of motoring.
Or hopefully 200.
Or 200.
Well,
those things, they can be
come on.
warriors when they get.
Do your
I
own
hope that helps
changes.
you, Melissa.
do
Thank
your oil
you.
changes, absolutely.
Always,
Always.
Yep.
for every brand.
Indeed.
Sometimes the question comes up, I know we're going to go to break in a second, but people will ask oil changes every 8,000, or they go, but I don't do that in a year. We had a gentleman that called and said he's
Bless
done
you.
6,500. Hit the time if you don't hit the mileage, correct?
I absolutely agree with it. And I know they say the oil life monitors are the greatest thing since
Oh, I
sliced
hate
bread.
those.
No. Oof.
I don't go by them myself. I have a brand new car and I am religious with the 5,000. They say 8,000. Wait till the light comes on. And then there's a recall on my car because the light doesn't come on.
I had one of those, when they first came out, I had a Pontiac, it was a long time ago, minivan, it was awful. And they're just wait for the light. So you drive around staring, waiting for it. And then like that guy that didn't want to be stuck by the side of the road with the mooses, I'm like, what if it comes on when I'm driving? It's like, oh, no, I used to be so disciplined in taking it in at intervals. It's like, give me the sticker in my windshield again. I don't want
That's
to play
because you were
this.
originally a Rambler owner.
My father was the
Yes,
Rambler
yeah.
owner. I was the Rambler backseat passenger.
When switching from General Motors to Nissan, that extra 1,000 between oil changes really... It just blew my mind that we could go 6,000 instead of 5
Instead of
between
5,
oil
yeah.
changes. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I mean, and you can't hurt to do them more often. So
No.
it's.
Oil's your best insurance.
How come we got to make Rambler jokes at my expense?
Why
Well,
not?
because you were from an AMC family.
Oh,
My
yes,
parents
we
only
were.
had cool cars. I'm sorry, it wasn't my fault.
AMCs are cool cars now. You show me. You know how many Gremlin clubs write to me and Pacer clubs? As soon as I drop that name into a column, it comes. At least they were bold.
Bold, yeah.
The cars did not look like every other car on the road
One
back
way of
then.
saying it.
They were bold.
Bold,
They were
yeah.
distinctive.
What about the Marlin? Come on.
You could always call it
Marlin.
ugly. I mean, the
No.
bold, ugly.
They had a really nice 60s period,
Cars
though,
had.
Not
were
really. They
distinctive.
were of all of the
right?
four North American brands.
What about the Rambler America?
If you just
That
do a
was very-
silhouette
very chic.
now, they all look the same. Everything looks the
Oh,
same.
absolutely. But you do
Back, a Gremlin silhouette,
69 to 73 or 75. There was no.
we have to go to break. When we return, we'll continue taking your car-related questions for Ask a Mechanic. Please call us, 888-764-3778.
This program is brought to you in part by Crown Rust Control, keeping vehicles looking better and lasting longer since 1986. 1-800-267-5744 or visit us at crown.com.
Buying a car? The fun is back! Ontario made all-in-price advertising the law for car dealers. No more hidden fees. All-in-price advertising. It's the law. A consumer protection message from OMVIC.
Think it's okay to drive high? Think again. Drug-impaired driving is as illegal as drunk driving, and in Ontario, the penalties are the same. If police suspect you're driving under the influence of drugs of any kind, or a combination of drugs and alcohol, and you fail a roadside test, your license will be suspended immediately for up to 30 days. You'll pay a penalty of $198. And you can be charged with a criminal offense of impaired driving, the same as alcohol. Driving high is never okay.
On February 11th, former UFC bantamweight champion Holly Holm looks to make history again as she faces former kickboxing star Germaine Durandamy for the first ever women's featherweight title. Plus, the legend Anderson Silva returns to the octagon against Derek Brunson. And top contender Jacare Souza battles powerhouse Tim Boetsch. UFC 208. Holm versus Durandamy. Saturday, February 11th, live on pay-per-view.
The Lemonade Car Show brought to you by OMVIC. Call us with any car-related questions for Ask a Mechanic. Joining me today is Ron Corbett. He's the staff writer for the APA. And Chris Muir, he's a professor and our mechanic from Centennial College. I love being able to cut you guys off.
Well, we can get
great.
passionate quick about cars.
Especially Ramblers.
Especially the Rambler.
It's just
we
AMC.
didn't mention the Javelin or the AMX.
The Javelin
They were
had
both-
such, it's like it took Corvette fenders and jammed them on a car it didn't belong on. It was just
That was
wrong.
the later one, which was hideous.
It was hideous.
Yeah, that was really
Oh
bad.
my God.
But the initial one was really quite...
It was like, that
quite
was
a handsome
Pacer era.
design.
That was
No,
wrong.
I spent my childhood being embarrassed by our cars because Dad was
they
an
were
AMC man.
AMCs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm looking back going, they were kind of cool. There was...
Well, I mean, there's followings for everything, though.
That's true.
Right? There's...
Okay, there's that. Hi, Eric.
Even the past Panamera.
Hi, Eric. Thanks for calling the show tonight. Do you have a question for us?
And I know they say you
Hold on. Not being able to hear you, Eric. Give us a second.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi, Eric.
How are you?
Good. Do you have a question, Eric?
Yeah. I thought I was on Lemonade.
You're on Lemonade. Do you want to turn down your volume in the background? We can't hear you. Do you have a question?
Yeah. My question is regarding the new hybrids and the electric cars, etc. And you all said that there's a shortage of IT mechanics, and there's going to have to be a whole new training session for all these mechanics that are old school to come in. How is that going to affect the consumers as far as mechanical costs when you bring your car into the repair shop 5 years down or 4 years down, 3 years down the road?
Well, I think Chris touched on it, the fact that you're going to have to see more dealer situations instead of going to
Absolutely.
your neighborhood mechanic.
There's going to be an increased cost, and already we're seeing it as far as boots on the ground go, with refusal to work on some of these systems without being prepared. So the ones that are prepared to work on these systems are demanding a premium. And unfortunately, yeah, you're going to get past that premium. Fortunately, a lot of this new technology removes a lot of these moving parts and systems that classically go wrong. Takes a lot of the maintenance out of the vehicle. We're seeing extended brake repair intervals on a lot of hybrids and electric vehicles because instead of using the brake, they're dragging electric motors.
Hi, Rick. Thanks for calling the show tonight. Do you have a question for us?
Yeah. Well, evening to everyone.
Thanks.
I do have a question. In regards to, I'm looking at purchasing a 2016 Subaru Forester 2-liter XT, which is the turbo version. And it's got about 27,000 kilometers, and I think the price is pretty fair, around 28,000, and it's still under warranty for about almost 2 years. My question is also in regards to reliability. I've never owned a turbo, so things to watch out for, and also, you know, how well is this thing? I mean, when it's new, but as it gets older, is it going to give me problems? And maybe somebody can shed some light on these type of cars, because I hear they're pretty good, but I'm not sure if it's exactly the kind of vehicle I want.
Turbochargers aren't what they were 20 and 30 years ago. They've built them to be a lot more reliable for the everyday consumer. The lifespan of the turbo will generally last just as long as the vehicle, especially something with a single turbo like that. It's not a multi-turbo, or it doesn't have a smaller turbo to wind up the bigger turbo. It's not a complex system. Subaru's been doing turbos for a very, very long time. They're renowned for it. That said, the only real kind of difference between a conventionally aspirated engine and a turbocharger is I'd let that thing idle after you got down off the highway. Sit in your driveway, flick through your cell phone messages for a minute or two after you get off the highway. Let the turbo cool down again after driving the vehicle, and you're going to see years of trouble-free use from that turbo, generally speaking.
There's a reason people love their Subarus too. They have a really loyal.
Oh yeah, no, the people are rabid about Subarus, and it is a really nice car to drive. It is very different, like it is from an alternate universe almost. Very safe. But we have, we keep hearing about engine durability problems. So I think if I bought the car, I might get an extended powertrain warranty. The rest of the car, I think, is basically fault-free. But once you get over 100, there could be some engine durability issues. Yeah.
Okay. Hope that helps you.
Is it heads on them still?
Head gaskets. I think they've solved they did have an issue with the new series engine with oil consumption. But I think they fixed that. But the head gasket seems to be an issue they just can't seem to get beyond.
They recalled it in the States. Have they recalled that here yet?
I haven't got a clue.
No? Okay. Hi, Mike. Thanks for calling the show tonight. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, I do. It's Ron and Chris. I got a good question. It's regarding your thoughts on cross-drilled and slotted rotors. Seem to be something I just put some on an Expedition, my Ford Expedition, but noticing it being noisier as I drive. I thought it was winter tires, but I seem to be a lot noisier. I have ceramic pads as well. Now, I have 4 different vehicles, and I'm ready to start doing that to all the vehicles, but this one kind of concerns me. I spent all this money on cross-drilled and slotted rotors, think I'm going to get better stopping power, especially in Expedition, because they're 6,000 pounds.
Yep.
What is your thoughts on these? Do they think they last long, or they're a very noisy rotor for your vehicle?
They tend to have a bit of a noise to them. They definitely have kind of a whirring noise when you're slowing down. And by kind of, I mean, if you haven't broken them in properly, they're going to be absolutely horrendous when you're trying to slow down with them. Cross-drilled, I'm not a big fan of if it's on an everyday vehicle. You get an extra surface that can rust, and you can get cracking between the drilled holes. Slotted rotors I do like. For an everyday vehicle, they clean out very well, they dissipate heat. In order to break them in, I would recommend not doing it on the street. They require aggressive near lockup stops in order to seat the pad into the rotor. You almost have to boil the rotor in order to get them to seat properly so they don't make noise. So if you've done this yourself in your driveway, or you've had somebody who doesn't usually deal with performance brakes, you may want to take it to someone and ask them if they can break it in for you. But as far as longevity goes, cross-drilled and slotted are all right. Slotted I would recommend over cross-drilled slotted for a daily vehicle. And the difference in brake performance, your tires are going to be your real threshold, I think, over the rotor design.
I hope that helps you. Hi, Len. Thanks for calling the show tonight. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, I do. Love your show, by the way, folks.
Thank you.
And I'm wondering how your hockey team did last week. Because when I tune in to watch your show, I just got hockey all the time, so I never saw anything.
Oh, it depends on which market you're in. Sometimes, it depends on what's being broadcast. What's your question
okay,
today?
Anyways, my question. I have a 2010 Lexus RX 350, and I got a little knocking sound when I go over uneven pavement, just down in the left-hand corner of the dash. A bit of a rattle, like a grrrr. And I'm wondering if I brought it to the dealer, they couldn't tell me what it was, and it's just an annoying thing. If the road is smooth, no problem. I don't hear anything. But as soon as I go over an even pavement and now with the snow sort of compacted as ice on the ground, I keep getting it more now.
Sorry about bushing bearing.
It could be sway bar link, could be strut, could be, if it's actually in the dash, could be something loose in the dash. I mean, it's likely suspension. Likely suspension if it's making kind of that brrr noise. Taking it into the dealer and riding around with the technician in order to make him hear it As much as the technician may not like it, tough, get in the car and figure out the noise for the customer.
Go find some potholes and
take
it down a rough
Absolutely.
road.
Yeah.
So try and duplicate the noise land with them, or possibly leave it with them till they can duplicate it.
Leave it with them until they can duplicate it.
You might have to do that.
Some of those noises are really bizarre. I had a transmission mount on an old car that had given out, and I thought the car was toast. Like it was going to be, that was the end of the car. It was making so much noise. I took it in, and he says, "Oh, the transmission mount, $40," and I was out.
So give them a chance to duplicate the noise, and that's your next step. Hope that helps you. Thanks, Len. Hi, Daryl. Thanks for calling the show. Do you have a question for us?
Yeah, I do. I've got an 03 Navigator, and I had a battery problem that was replaced by warranty. And ever since I've had the battery problem, I've had like multiple electrical problems, and my ABS light won't go out.
Okay. Have you had it scanned for any codes?
Yes, and there aren't any.
There's no codes, and it's...
Well, I can't find any. But
what
I've
kind of
had
a scanner
other
are you
people
using?
check it, and they can't find any either.
Who can't find any? I'm sorry?
No, and I don't know how deep they're looking, but...
Who are you taking it to, Daryl?
Who are you taking it to?
I've taken it to Muffler Man and another garage, and I've got a handheld code reader, and I've cleared the codes, I've disconnected the battery, and it's still there.
Okay, your handheld code reader probably won't tell you a whole bunch. You're going to need a scan tool. The guys at Minute Muffler, I don't know what they've got for scan tools. Have you paid them for diagnostic on the vehicle?
Yes.
And they didn't come up with an answer?
No.
Well, I wouldn't have paid them then because they've got nothing for you. What kind of a charge are you putting into that battery right now? Do you know?
Well, right now it's fine because I had the battery replaced.
I understand you had the battery replaced. I'm worried about the charging system. If you go over a certain voltage threshold, which can be overachieved by an alternator that's out of calibration, you can cause all kinds of terrible symptoms on a vehicle, down to killing the battery and causing engine lights, ABS lights, other traction lights to come on. But if it's got an ABS light on, there should be something in there to give us a clue as to why that might be on.
Should he take this to a different mechanic and get
He
some
needs to
fresh
take
eyes
it to
on
somebody who can give him an answer.
So a reputable mechanic that can give you an answer. The APA can help direct you to...
Yeah, if he calls our office tomorrow, 416-204-1444, we'll give him the name of a mechanic, one of our mechanics in his area.
This is frustrating. You need some fresh eyes on it so you can clear it once and for all. I hope that helps you. Hi, Ed. Thanks for calling the show. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, I do. I bought a vehicle, and it came with a electronic rust protection module underneath the hood.
Yeah.
And I want to know how that compares to, say, oil spray rust proofing.
Take it to Crown. That electronic thing doesn't do anything.
We like to call them LEDs in a box. They're nice little light bulbs that are in a tin box. And they sure are pretty when they flash, but they don't do a lick of good.
And I think the module will look good after 10 years.
Well, actually, it'll be all corroded.
And it's unproven science. I call it a scam. I would go to Crown. They've sponsored the show, but I've gone to Crown long before they sponsored the show, get a light oil drip. That's once a year they warranty.
I enjoy the theory behind these electronic boxes. We put a charge to the entire body of the car from going from one side of the fender to the other. However, if you look at a vehicle, it generally has electricity traveling through it at all times.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything. They need an anode on them, which most of them don't have, which is a sacrificial anode. It attracts corrosion. They use it in bridges and statues.
And submarines.
Don't have the same voltages, and they don't have the same expense.
That hasn't come up this year yet, actually. Usually we do. It comes up on more shows. Maybe the message is getting out. So, yeah, take it to Crown. I hope that helps you. Hi, John. Thanks for calling the show. Do you have a question for us?
Yeah, something you guys mentioned about oil. And I have three vehicles. I have them all on synthetic. One's 17 years old, one's 11, and the other one's 3. I usually do, the two that are older have 60,000 and 40,000 kilometers on them.
Yep.
But I only change the oil every 8 to 10,000 kilometers.
And
if I'm lucky, I drive them about 500 to 1,000 kilometers every summer. And then the one that I drive every day, I change it 8,000. If but I only have 20,000 on it.
Okay. The ones that you're driving, you should change them once a year. Regardless if you have synthetic in it or not, they're still capturing particulate and condensation and storing it in the oil. So you're just changing the oil, not because the oil's bad, but to flush condensation, varnish, gum out of it. The one that you're driving daily, 8,000 on synthetic, absolutely. Why not? Okay, it's not going to hurt the engine. Very likely its actual service intervals are much greater than that.
Hope that helps you. Thank you. Hi, Lou. Thanks for calling the show. Do you have a question for us?
Yeah, my wife drives a 2016 Ford Edge, and we've had lots of problems with the tailgate not opening. The horn will go off. Sometimes it locks her out of the car. And every time we bring it back, they tell us that it's just a computer module. We're getting kind of concerned. The vehicle only has 30,000 kilometers on it.
Mm-hmm. And have they made any repairs on this?
Each time we bring it in, they say that they've rechipped the computer.
They reset it.
They reflashed or reprogrammed the computer. You may want to try a different dealer and express that you're having these concerns if they're not getting rectified. If that doesn't lead you anywhere, I would phone the APA and see what they can do for you. I wouldn't be happy taking a reflash if it's a recurring problem with different body functions. I absolutely agree it's cause for concern.
Give the APA a call tomorrow. I know John will be in and he can direct you, but yeah, you're right. And actually, to everybody, if you're not getting help from a dealer or a mechanic, you're allowed to leave. Like you're allowed to go somewhere else. And I find most viewers, callers, most people are really reasonable and they want to, you know, and so are most dealers. Everybody wants to solve the problem.
Absolutely.
But 8 times or 6 times, no. We're getting out of reasonable territory, and new eyes on something can often solve a lot of frustrating problems.
And a lot of the time, and I mean, I know you say that 8, 10 times, if the dealer is working with you and genuinely trying to get to the root of a very unique problem, let them work at it. Don't rush them through. Don't demand your car because you have to be here. Demand a rental because you have to be there, right? Let them fix your vehicle. You can't rush through a lot of these new processes. A lot of this new diagnostic takes time, and it's frustrating for the consumer, but it's frustrating for the person working on the car. And the person in the middle that's getting yelled at turns around and yells at the guy that's working on your car. It causes more frustration, more upset. So both parties have to be reasonable when we're trying to get to the bottom of some of these things.
And we've been discussing a lot recently about intermittent problems that only happen when you're in the car, and sometimes you have to leave it with them. We've had people who've had to leave it for a week.
Yep.
And they have the mechanic actually drive it back and forth to his or her house, trying to duplicate the problem. Sometimes it's the only way to get to the bottom of it, so patience on all sides. And they're not trying to rip you off. They're not just trying to put miles on your car.
No, not at all. And there has to be and this is going to sound horrible, but there has to be a reasonable expectation for the product that you bought and the condition that it's in. If your car has been T-boned, it may never get rid of that rattle now, right? If you've bought an economy car, you might hear a little bit more road noise than your friend that bought the Lincoln, right? And there is unreasonable expectation on both sides, right? There's a technician looking at it going, it's just a cheap car, but on the other side, there's somebody looking at that cheap car and thinking that it should be a Cadillac and not a Geo, right? So there's a whole bunch of expectations, and sometimes you got to compromise or meet in the middle, right? Obviously, if it's doing something repeatedly and you know it's not supposed to do it because it's never done it before, but if you buy the car without test driving it and all of a sudden you get it on the road and somebody says it's a commercially acceptable noise, you may actually have a commercially acceptable wind noise for that chassis.
For that.
And that segment and how much you paid for it, We've 15 seconds, but one of the things we've got is transmissions now feel differently, and that's a huge issue, which we can get into that next week again, because that's becoming the foremost complaint and concern from consumers that we're hearing now as things start to change. So that's all the time we have for tonight. Lemonade Car Show is brought to you by OMVIC, Ontario's vehicle sales regulator, and produced by the Automobile Protection Association. Visit us at apa.ca. I'd like to thank my guests, Ron Corbett and Chris Muir, and as always, thanks to you viewers. Good night, everybody.
Buying a car? The fun is back. Ontario made all-in-price advertising the law for car dealers. No more hidden fees. All-in-price advertising. It's the law. A consumer protection message from OMVIC.
This program is brought to you in part by Crown Rust Control, keeping vehicles looking better and lasting longer since 1986. 1-800-267-5744 or visit us at crown.com.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
Let's rob Louis Fargo.